GETTYBrexit Minister Steve Baker announced amendments to the Brexit bill. They proposed changing clauses in the legislation that had triggered criticism from MPs that the government was attempting to assume sweeping powers for altering regulations without consulting Parliament. The bill, which has been drafted to smooth the UK's departure from the EU next year, returns to the Commons for more crunch vote next week before being debated in the House of Lords. Ministers insisted the changes to the text of the Brexit bill were being put forward because they were listening to backbench concerns. Some MPs had raised objections about so-called Henry VIII powers that the government plans to use to EU rules and regulations when they are transferred onto the UK statute book. UK Parliament Brexit Minister Steve Baker wants a constructive debate. The government will propose limits to its Henry VIII powers. That's why our consistent approach to the bill has been to listen and work with MPs who've made constructive suggestions to improve it. In bringing forward these amendments today, we're showing the seriousness with which we take Parliament's views. Steve Baker. One of the proposed amendments seeks to put a limit on the use of the powers. An extension of 3 months after the date of Brexit will be granted for people wishing to launch court cases over alleged breaches of the general principles of EU law was also put forward. And a further proposed amendment stated that devolved administrations in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland will have to consult with the UK government, rather than seeking its consent, before using correcting powers to amend EU rules as they are transferred to domestic law. Brexit Minister Steve Baker said this is a landmark piece of legislation which is paving the way for our smooth departure from the EU. One amendment states the government must consult devolved leaders such as Wales' Carwyn Jones. That's why our consistent approach to the bill has been to listen and work with MPs who've made constructive suggestions to improve it. In bringing forward these amendments today, we're showing the seriousness with which we take Parliament's views. We're looking forward to hearing the debate on these and further amendments tabled by others next week. The bill survived its committee stage in the Commons last year with only one government defeat. It will return to the Commons for its final report stage and third reading on January 16 and 17 before moving on to the House of Lords, where it is expected to face tough scrutiny.